I enter the house. I don't hear anyone, but I see my father's shoes. Could he be taking a nap? It'd be a blessing if we didn't run into each other. Carefully, without making any sound, I enter my room. Thank you, game. Ooh. I'm pretty sure Lucy should be voicing the narration here.
Okay. Lucy is cleaning a room. Oh. Do you think that's still my character? She does talk in third person.
Just go for it.
Okay. She appears to be in a good mood today. The room isn't very messy. But that's only because Lucy has been working diligently. And even though the room isn't messy, Lucy continues to clean as usual. It's already become part of her daily routine. Without allowing a single speck of dust to fall onto the floor, Lucy proceeds with clinical efficiency. Here and there. Lucy glides across the floor with a vacuum cleaner. She does each and every corner and organizes a pile of books on the desk. She hangs up the jackets inside the closet and places the folded underwear inside various drawers. She repeats this process. Not too long after, she finally stretches her back. Then, she wipes her forehead with the back of her hand. It's finally done. The way she massages her waist while letting out a deep breath is no doubt the appearance of a typical woman. She stares at the sky through a window. It sure is a lovely day today. It'd been a while since she'd seen such warm, sunny weather. Compared to the chilly weather she's been seeing lately, this was quite rare. The sunlight is faintly shining down from the sky. Hopefully it'll stay this warm. It's almost time for her master to return home from school. She makes her way towards the living room to finish up the rest of her chores. When Lucy arrived in the living room, she tilted her head in confusion. It was because she heard something. It's Father's voice. She can't make out what he's saying. But he's speaking quite loudly. It doesn't seem like he's just talking to himself. Soon enough, Lucy hears the voice of another person. It's a woman. Perhaps Father has brought a guest home? With careful steps, Lucy makes her way towards his room. But she suddenly stops to think. She's reminded of Father's frightening demeanor. She might get scolded again if she runs into him. Feeling a little scared, Lucy stops at the base of the door. From there, she cautiously peers into the room. She sees Father. He's talking to a lady that Lucy's unfamiliar with. She looks like she's in her early 30s. Lucy quietly mutters to herself. Who could that be? It's Lucy's first time seeing her. Being careful not to get caught, she listens in while keeping her distance. Her sensitive ears began to pick up their voices clearly.
I blame everything on the robot. Nothing's been going well ever since that thing came along.
Could they be talking about Lucy? Lucy knows that eavesdropping is bad. But overcome by her curiosity, she continues to listen.
My son has started acting strange. He was never like this before.
Are you sure? I've always felt that he was the rebellious type.
Yes, I'm sure. He might have been a little on the quiet side, but he still used to be a good kid.
Well, if you say so, dear.
She must be Master's mother. Lucy came to that conclusion from the way that woman was talking to Father. She had heard once from the Master that Father had remarried with a young secretary. But it doesn't seem that she stops by this place very often.
I'd been thinking something was up. But I never thought his condition would be so severe. He's completely out of it. To think that he's confusing a robot with a human being!
That's just what's been on the news lately. How could a young boy like him lack such common sense? Confusing a machine with a person.
That robot is strange. It's eerily realistic. It's far better at copying people than other models. I've seen that sly contraption laugh and cry.
Didn't you say once that she has quite the looks, too? Since she's just like a person and listens to his every command, I can see how it would be problematic for a boy his age. But still, she's just a robot. Perhaps he's having trouble at school?
Trouble?
Don't they say this often? That unsociable children are usually the ones that get attached to androids. Since they have trouble getting along with people, they grow close with androids instead. Robots are always willing to listen to them, unlike people. It's clear that he's having trouble with his school life.
I wouldn't know, since he rarely ever talks about what happens in school. Anyway, it's certain that the robot is the cause of all these problems. There's no doubt. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Isn't it obvious?
What do you mean?
Why don't you just go destroy it?
What?
Go dispose of it. The robot's the reason behind all this, right?
Her words were followed by a moment of silence.
But then he'll be really upset about it.
Isn't it like a toy, anyway? When his condition improves, we can always buy him a new one.
It's not as simple as that. The robot looked a bit special.
Then are you planning to leave things the way they are? You think his feelings are more important than his future? Something must be done about this, right?
Yeah?
Then just get rid of it. Go smash it to pieces or set it on fire or whatever.
Father appeared to be mulling it over.
You're right. That robot is the cause of all of this. If that robot disappears, if that robot gets out of our way, everything will soon return to normal.
That was as far as Lucy could listen. She couldn't bring herself to stay any longer. She started to walk away from them, looking sullen. Correction, she tried to get away. Oh! While scrambling to leave, Lucy bumped into a nearby display containing a jar. She managed to catch it, just in time to prevent it from crashing onto the floor. But she made a lot of noise in the process.
Who's there?
Father and the woman rush out of the room.
It's you. Were you listening?
Lucy makes an excuse while putting the jar back in its place. Lucy is very sorry. She did not mean to eavesdrop on purpose.
That's enough. It makes everything a lot easier then. I order you to leave this house. We have no use for you. There's nothing we need from you in this household. So leave.
But Master is...
My son doesn't need you either. He's only confused because he's young. You're not being of any help to my son. You're only causing him to suffer. So run along. Forever disappear from our sights.
Lucy... Lucy stood in a timid posture. But her voice was as firm as ever. With all due respect, Lucy does not agree with Father.
What?
Lucy believes that she's being a great help to Master. In the past, she wouldn't have been able to say for sure. But now, it's different. She continues to speak with great confidence. Master has told Lucy that he needs her. That is why Lucy does not wish to leave. She would like to continue to help Master.
All right. It doesn't seem like we'll get anywhere by talking.
Father disappears off somewhere. A moment later, he returns with a container filled with gasoline in his hand. He pours the gasoline onto Lucy. The gasoline makes a loud splash as it makes contact with Lucy. She soon becomes drenched from top to bottom. Lucy stands in silence with the gasoline covering her body. Father takes out a lighter and flicks it on. He holds the lighter threateningly close.
This is my last warning. Leave if you do not wish to be turned into a pile of ashes. And don't you dare come back! Stay out of my son's life forever!
Lucy silently observes her slimy body. What should Lucy do? Lucy tries asking herself, but there isn't anyone that could give her an answer. Without knowing what to do, Lucy remains standing still for quite a long time. Her body is designed to be able to withstand intense heat for a short while. But it won't be long before she begins to melt. Lucy suddenly remembers Master's order. Run away if she's in danger. That was the order. Lucy didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do, but she decided to leave the scene first. Staying here would be going against the second and third law of robotics. In order to prevent that, Lucy begins to move. Please, take care. With a sad look, Lucy leaves.
Don't even think about showing up here ever again. If you do, you'd better be prepared to pay the price. I'm in no way exaggerating. Keep that in mind.
All Lucy did was give the ground a lonely stare. Did she really have to part with Master like this? With a heavy heart, she made her way outside, leaving behind a slimy trail of gasoline. Father followed after to make sure she left. Once outside, Lucy found herself staring at the sky absent-mindedly. It was bright and sunny out, which had been a rare sight in recent weeks. Lucy stopped in her tracks momentarily as she stared into the sky. Then she smiled brightly. It was a refreshing smile, free of all cares in the world. It sure is a lovely day today. She thought it would be good weather to go for a picnic.
As soon as classes were over, I prepared to leave. Dagir struck up a conversation with me immediately after bell, which was a real bother. I couldn't really pay attention to what he was saying. It was something along the lines of him wanting to hang out with Lucy again, but I ignored him. I set aside his demands and headed home alone. It feels like I've been getting home a lot earlier today. And it really is true. I've started going straight home after school. In the past, I would have aimlessly wandered the streets to pass some time. But I can no longer do that. Because there's someone waiting for me at home. I would have never imagined in the past that this would ever happen. Who knew going home could be this exciting? I wonder what we'll talk about today. I wonder what kind of faces she'll make, what kind of stupid things she'll say. I wonder about the most pointless things. The pointless things that was so excited to see. That I was so excited. I enjoy chatting with her about the dumbest things. How much do I enjoy it? Well, it feels as if my life has been purposely so dull and boring up to this point in order to make up for my fated meeting with Lucy. To the point where I would begin to have silly thoughts like these. That's how much I enjoy it. Even I think that sounds corny, but it can't be helped. Because emotions are not something anyone can easily control. I decide to pick up my pace. Just so I'd be able to meet Lucy a little faster. It was when I'd almost arrived home that I begin to feel something terrible was about to happen. I didn't understand why, but I could feel it in the air. Something ominous. I quickened my pace even more. I was practically running. What? I couldn't believe what was happening before my eyes. I felt my knees giving away. What kind of sick joke is this? My mouth hung wide open and refused to close. Lucy! Lucy was on fire. Her entire body was burning up. In the place where she always used to stand while waiting for my return. While engulfed in flames, she was staring at me. My head went blank. I could not process what was happening at all. How did this happen? Lucy? It didn't feel like Lucy in front of me was real. It felt like it felt as if I was dreaming. I laid a hand on top of Lucy. It was hot. It was scorching hot. The pain helped me return to my senses. Charge inside the house. My father is standing in my way, trying to speak to me. I cannot comprehend what he was saying. I push him aside and enter the house. Did that get picked up?
No, it didn't get picked up.
I try.
Oh, okay.
My mic is dying. I scream. While running wild like a maniac, I scream at the top of my lungs. I prance around the house in a crazed fit. My vision is turning blurry because of all the tears. Only then I finally realize that I'm crying. The tears are making it difficult to see where I'm going. I head towards the living room in an attempt to locate the fire extinguisher. And there it is. After finding the fire extinguisher, I run as hard as I could with it. I'm in such a hurry that I sloppily fall over with a loud crash. But it doesn't matter. My knee seems to be bruised, but it doesn't matter. Without any delay, I get right back up and continue running. I yank out the safety pin and aim the hose at Lucy and release the payload. Faster! Faster! Praying that the fire will be put out just a little faster. I continue to spray. After a short while, the fire vanishes like magic. But the Lucy revealed beneath the fire didn't look too good. I gazed at the various patches of her skin that were melted off. Her condition isn't as severe as I thought it would be. Most likely thanks to her fire-resistant skin. I can't see her very well due to my blurred vision, however. Lucy. As if my words could hurt her, I call out to her delicately. There is no reply. Her eyes are closed. There's no response coming from her at all. What are you doing? Answer me! I anxiously wait for her to reply. I wait for her to open her mouth. But her unrelenting lips refuse to facilitate my desires. They refuse to listen to my earnest request. Lucy, this is an order. Answer me. Answer me, damn it! I try yelling, but it doesn't change anything. Her eyelids are closed tightly shut and wouldn't budge. What have you done? I turn to face my father. Are you happy now? Are you proud of yourself?
I've done nothing wrong. It refused to listen to me until the very end. Even though I told it many times to leave. All I did was get rid of something worthless.
Why did you have to go this far?
It's about time you opened your eyes. What's lying before you is not a dead person. It's just a broken down robot. Nothing more, nothing less. It's only broken machinery. You can always buy another one to replace it. It's not something to get so worked up over.
Oh, my insides convulsing. A sorrowful voice flows out of my mouth. I don't know anymore. I just don't. When we're able to do something like this, without a second thought, I don't know if we humans really are better than androids. I don't know what part of human nature makes us better than Lucy. I just don't know anymore. People take pride in being human, and people do not want to lose their power to govern the world. That is why they fear robots, avoid robots, show contempt for robots, and eventually do something like this without batting an eyelash. Can we say for sure that compared to this android lying on the ground, compared to Lucy, are we humans truly more deserving to exist on this planet? I wasn't so sure anymore. Narfi. Then I suddenly heard a voice. It was Lucy's voice.
Master.
She sounded strained, as if her light was about to flicker out at any second. Her body was damaged to the point that it was almost painful to look at. She still retained her usual voice that I'd been longing for. Her eyes were firmly locked onto my face. You! Are you alright?
Yes.
Her voice was quivering uncontrollably. Her body is also making a lot of strange crackling noises. She doesn't look alright at all. She looks as if she's about to seize up at any moment. Yet despite such hindrance, she was trying hard. she was trying hard to say something.
It's not Father's fault.
She's in such a pitiful state, yet she spoke so calmly. She sounded as if she was trying her best to make me feel at ease. Her stolid composure made my chest tighten.
Lucy ended up breaking the laws. Lucy broke the laws and paid the price. Lucy did not obey Master's order. Lucy did not protect herself. Lucy did not run away from danger. Lucy stayed right here. That is why things turned out this way. It's all Lucy's fault.
3 laws of robotics. 3 unescapable chains humans have bestowed on robots. Is she trying to say that she's in this state only because she broke the laws? Is she trying to say that the fire had nothing to do with it? I feel some surge of anger welling up inside me. You idiot! What did I tell you? Run away! I told you to run away if something ever happens to you. I thought I made it very clear. I even ordered you to. Why didn't you listen? Why didn't you listen to let yourself get hurt? After hearing those words, Lucy tried to smile. She tried her hardest to smile. Her voice was so faint that I couldn't make out what she was saying. What?
Because Lucy made a promise that she would greet Master. That she would wait for Master in front of the house every day. Lucy promised with Master. That's why she wanted to stay. Lucy wanted to stay right here. From here, in front of the house, as always. Lucy wanted to greet Master with a smile. Lucy wanted to continue making Master happy.
But that was just a promise. You didn't have to wait for me. I told you that wasn't an order. You could have just ignored it. A weak smile forms on her face.
Lucy can't do that. If Lucy breaks that promise, if Lucy isn't here for Master when he comes home, then Master will definitely feel lonely. Lucy remembers Master's lonely face from the past. Lucy did not want to see it again. Ever again. That is why Lucy couldn't break that promise.
And like that, she continued to spout nonsense. Nonsense that only a true robot could fathom.
Lucy has a responsibility. A responsibility to stay by Master's side. A responsibility to make Master happy. That responsibility is definitely more precious than Lucy's life. It's something Lucy must fulfill.
What? That doesn't make any sense at all. How am I supposed to be happy after seeing you like this? Her body began to convulse. I understood the implication behind such abnormal movements. That she was making her final struggle. That I'll never be able to hear her voice again. That she won't ever be coming outside to greet me again.
Today on the menu,
Or making me angry with her silliness. Or lightly caressing my forehead. The tears are blurring my vision, making it hard to see. I hastily wipe my wet eyes clean.
Please don't cry. This is fine.
I could not understand the meaning behind her words. What could possibly be fine? Is this really fine for you? Ending it like this? Are you really okay with that?
If Master will remember... If Master will remember Lucy for all eternity, then Lucy is satisfied. If Lucy is able to live on in Master's memories forever, then Lucy is satisfied. That is the eternity. The eternity.
I understood. I understood what she was about to say. The eternity she wished for. Not in the literal sense, but the true eternity that we had discussed in the past.
If Master will remember Lucy, then she won't have any regrets. Lucy has the confidence that she won't regret her decision. So, will Master remember Lucy? Will Master remember Lucy for all eternity?
You're being too selfish. Acting on your own like that. Even if you're fine with the whole situation. Even if you have no regrets. What am I supposed to do? Now that she's leaving me behind, what am I supposed to do? Lucy's head is shaking a little.
That's strange. Sorry, Master. Lucy appears to be losing her hearing. Master's voice is drifting further away. This is bad. Lucy didn't get to hear Master's reply.
Her voice is gradually changing. The crystal clear voice she once had is now turning into a garbled mess. Just like when we first met. She used to be completely useless.
Will Master remember?
Fingers are twitching.
Will Master remember Lucy?
Nonetheless, Lucy continues to press on. With a voice that might cut off at any second. She's still desperately trying to hear my answer. I have to make up my mind. After seeing her struggle, I have to make up my mind right here and now, while holding back the cries welling up inside. I give her a nod with my tear-stricken face. I will. I'll remember you, damn it. Lucy smiles.
Lucy is glad. Lucy's wish. Final. Finally can.
Lucy? Lucy. That was the end of it. With that, the conversation never went on. With that, she no longer responded to my cries. The light never returned to her eyes. Now those eyes will no longer meet my gaze. She'll no longer smile at me. And she won't be coming back for all eternity. In the end, it was just like she wished for. I can say for sure, that she'll clearly be engraved in my memories. And I wish that pain will be remembered for be able to forget, even if I wanted to. Now I have no choice but to remember. No matter how mentally exhausted and degraded I become, no matter how painful it becomes, now I have no choice but to remember her existence. To remember her name, Lucy Valentine, and all the unpleasant memories that come along with it. That was what she wished for, and something so unbearably cruel for me to endure.
Hey. You listening? Cheer up. Oh, come on. What's wrong with you? You're even making me depressed. This is why I warned you not to get attached to her so much. Robots are robots. Humans are humans. You were hurt because you couldn't tell the two apart. You crossed the line. The line that wasn't meant to be crossed. And it made it so clear for you too. I warned you that you'd only be the only one hurt in the end. Really, how foolish of you.
I remain silent. I have nothing to say.
Well, now that I think about it, maybe this turned out to be a pretty good experience for you, after all.
I I raise my head to look up at him.
The fact that you really finally learned your lesson make it all worth it, I think. It may have been a harsh lesson, but wasn't there some merit to it? You should know this better than anyone else.
Well, I guess you're right.
Mm-hmm. Then let us start enjoying life properly.
What do you mean?
There are a lot more interesting things in life than androids. So let's go find out what's in store for us. Because to be honest, we devote a huge chunk of our lives just to study, right? It's time for us to catch up on all the fun stuff.
How about you give me an example?
Alright. First, we should try to get to know some girls.
You sound as if you haven't been trying.
That's just mean. Anyway, there are always women out there who are more attractive than Lucy. Of course, women with better figures too. Although you won't be dealing with a robot, there must be someone who's as nice as Lucy. A woman like that should try getting into a serious relationship. Go traveling to all kinds of different places together. Make lots of special memories. Let's try all the fun things we missed out on. Eventually, you're ready to move on from this incident. Well, doesn't it sound exciting?
It doesn't sound like what a person with an SAT coming up in the next couple of months or couple of days would say.
That's true. But whatever. We're both responsible people. On top of that, studying should not be your biggest concern right now.
He gives me a poke on my chest. I took my head in confusion.
Curing this place right here is a top priority.
Yeah. It might be good to go out all out and enjoy myself from time to time.
Yeah? You're excited too, right? I'm telling you, things will definitely pick up from now on. Just trust me and look forward to it. So come on, cheer up. Brush off the dust and get back up.
To those words, I gave a small nod. I genuinely appreciated him going this far to cheer me up. And at the same time, I felt apologetic.
Man, you look like you've gone to hell and back.
I'm sorry.
About what?
I couldn't keep my promise. Even though I said I would take good care of her.
Huh. And I was wondering what you were going on about. That's not something you should be apologizing to me about, is it? There's no point. And just in case there's any hope left inside of you, I'll make it clear again. Her body, her memory chips, and everything else, they were all completely destroyed in the fire. This isn't something even I can handle. I'm waving the white flag. She's a goner. Even if you went to the genius who made Lucy, he probably wouldn't be able to fix her up.
I know.
Alright. As long as you understand.
Wouldn't be suffering so much if I'd never picked her up in the first place. I don't understand how I could be feeling so down when I've lived my childhood practically alone. It appears that I've changed quite a lot ever since Lucy entered my life.
You'll be able to move on someday.
Move on?
Yeah. They say time heals all wounds, right? Sounds cliched, but hey, it's true. The pain you're experiencing from your loss will eventually disappear without a trace.
Do you really think so?
Yeah. You can't possibly dwell on Lucy for the rest of your life, right? So forget about her.
Guess you're right. That's what I'll need to do. The repairman did not say anything else. Just like that, I left the store. I thought to myself that it'd be great if things happened as he said. After my pain had subsided, after I've put Lucy in the past, I would really be able to live on just like before. Would I really be able to live on feeling pain? I wondered. I arrived at the airport in a taxi. Time to say goodbye to Korea. I have to go on a business trip to the US. It won't be a short one. I probably won't be coming back for a while. I'm reminded of the past as I glance at my surroundings. I've made so many memories here. It's my birthplace, after all. But it'll be quite a fresh experience stepping into a new land. Keeping track of the flight times. I board the plane heading to America. Time passes, whilst I settle comfortably into my chair. An android approaches me and hands me a menu. I decide on a simple meal. After receiving my order with a smile, the robot leaves. My stare lingers on its back for a while. The image reminded me of something. Something from back in my youth. A broken down robot. It takes me quite a while to remember its name. Lucy Valentine. That was probably it. I really was quite immature back then. I can't believe I was able to cry over a mere robot like that. At the time, it seriously felt that my world had crumbled. I suppose I was too naive. My cheeks reddened from reminiscing about that particular incident. I'm sure everyone else has at least one or two embarrassing memories of their own. I feel foolish, yet at the same time, I miss who I was back then. Now, that gets me thinking. Have I really changed since that event long ago? It's not something I can judge alone, though. Staring at my wife's face displayed on a phone screen, I become lost in thought. Stable job, notable social status in society, fairly large home, and expensive imported vehicles. A beautiful wife and adorable, loving children. Without hesitation, I can totally say that I've been living a happy, enjoyable life.
I had ripped off my attachment to rebels in the past. If I'd stayed foolish and naive back then, I would never be able to obtain what I have today. If I'm truly being honest with myself, perhaps I do have some regrets. But what's done is done. The choices I've made have defined the kind of man I am now. People simply change as they mature. That's reality. My eyes begin to dim. Sleep overtaking me. The name from my past fades. I know that once I awake, such memories have been forgotten once more, without knowing if they will ever return to me. And like always, I will be continuing to look towards the future.
Oh, thank God there's no fourth end credit scene.
I like how they call that an old man's wish. What, you were probably like 30 something,
30.
40 something?
I was like, I'm pretty sure my character would have been 37, 38.
Well, that went from 0 to 60 really fast.
Yo, is this the old man's wish?
Yes.
It was early morning. The chirping of birds could be heard through the window. The old man, who was a light sleeper, slowly opened his eyes. Lazily sitting up in bed, he scowled at the almost blinding sunlight. Then he slowly rose, walked over to the windows, and closed the curtains. As the curtains came to a halt, everything became quieter, as if he had muted the television. Darkness engulfed the 16 square meter sized room. Even after opening his eyes, the old man continued to sit on his bed, staring into empty space. It appeared he hadn't fully woken up yet. Should I say that?
Someone other than you.
Pardon my intrusion.
There was a sudden knock at the door, followed by a feminine voice, oddly devoid of emotion, which caused the old man to snap out of his trance. The old man slowly moved his gaze towards the entrance of a room, with an indifferent stare. A woman, young enough to be his granddaughter, made an appearance at the door.
Natalie.
Breakfast is ready.
Her words lacked the kindness expected in such familial relationship. A formal, rigid manner was reminiscent of how an employee would address their superior. Bring it here. Obeying the old man's order, she quietly entered the room. She placed the food upon the fold-up table beside his bed. It was a light meal consisting of toast with scrambled eggs and bacon, and a lovely salad containing a wide variety of vegetables, served with coffee. Instead of expressing gratitude for bringing his meal or giving a morning greeting, the old man decided to say something else. What time is it?
Older voice.
What time is it?
Elderly.
Sorry, say that again.
An elderly voice.
What time is it?
Like, think 60-year-old or 70 even.
What time is it?
Better.
It's currently 6:12 a.m. Master has woken up 4 minutes later than his average month.
Her voice sounded noticeably unnatural and dull. Yet the old man did not seem to mind. Lifting up his coffee from the table, he took a sip. Ah. The balance between the amount of coffee mix and water was nothing short of perfect. She was aware of how the old man preferred his coffee, and had been providing the same coffee every day without fail. It's not just the coffee. The breakfast laid out before the old man was also the result of a carefully calculated balance between his tastes and required nutrient intake. Silveroids. They're androids that specifically cater to the elderly. With the changes in society and advancements in technology, traditional familial duties are becoming outdated. Nowadays, it's rare to see people taking care of their aging parents themselves. Instead, they would gift them a premium silveroid as their designated caretaker. The old man once more skimmed through the newspaper article he'd read a few days ago. It said that the gratitude of the offspring correlates to how advanced of a silveroid model they send to their parents. One in front of him was a PIM series model. Undoubtedly considered one of the best out there.
Master?
Seeing that the old man had stopped moving, the android voiced her concern. From those words, the old man awoke from his daydream and proceeded to carry a piece of toast in his mouth. Crunching down on the familiar crispiness, he began to reminisce about the past.
Now that I think about it, it's been quite a while since you first arrived here.
There wasn't any visible reaction from the android. She continued to stare in the air while maintaining a rigid posture.
How long has it been since your arrival?
It has been exactly 10 years.
I see. Time sure flies.
She was the present his son had bought for his birthday after the old man retired from his work. Technically, the android in front of him was not the same model he received back then, but an upgrade version of it. Whenever the old man's birthday neared, his son would religiously send a new revision of the model. Then the memory chip from the previous version would be inserted into the new one. The Silveroid has gone through 6 upgrades so far. Apparently, many new features were added with each successive generation, yet the old man had difficulty understanding the subtle variations. The unfamiliar voice of the new models only made him feel uncomfortable.
Master?
From her repeated calls of master, the old man shifted his focus back to the meal.
It's nothing.
Could it be that Master is not feeling well?
When people get old, they naturally turn sentimental. It can't be helped.
After letting out a small sigh, the old man placed a trembling hand on his forehead.
Old memories just keep coming back to me, even when I'm only trying to rest.
Does Master mean good memories?
Yes, there are some good ones. Good or bad, they all come back though.
She was an android he once had actively rejected. Yet, being left alone after a recent divorce had somewhat altered his views. As an old man who had only paid attention to work in his life, it it's obvious that he wouldn't be able to handle the housework on his own. He tried hiring 11 housekeepers, but found the arrangement too uncomfortable, and it wasn't in his preference to live together with someone unfamiliar. After he had experienced numerous failures, he finally decided to try the Silveroid. He still had a lot of trouble with the robot at first. She nitpicked about the smallest things, and ambushed him in the washroom every day with her examinations and whatnot. The first year was very stressful for him. However, humans are adaptive creatures. With time, he eventually adjusted her routine, keeping his complaints down to a minimum. In fact, he had become so dependent upon the convenience of having an android that the old man wasn't sure if he would ever be able to survive without one.
I have to get up now. Take this away.
The android put on a puzzled expression as the old man weakly sat down his fork.
Master is finished, but Master has not yet met the recommended nutrient intake.
I don't feel too hungry today.
Then, just to be safe, today's morning examination will have to be more extensive than usual. I expect nothing out of the ordinary, but there's nothing wrong with being cautious.
How am I supposed to find the time for that? I have to go open my shop.
The old man rose as he stubbornly replied,
Master must not avoid the examination entirely. If Master insists, I will do my best to get through it as quick as possible.
The old man clicked his tongue in annoyance. Only a few years ago, he would have gotten furious in a similar situation, but he was used to it now. After shaking his head, all he did was quietly stare at the android approaching him. After the examination, the old man made some preparations to leave and headed towards the front door. The android set aside the chores she had been doing and approached the old man.
Will Master be leaving now?
Yes.
The old man went through his usual routine. But today, the android appeared to be a little tense. After a moment of hesitation, she carefully spoke up.
Master?
What is it?
I was thinking maybe Master should avoid going to work today.
And why is that?
It's been confirmed that Master isn't in very good condition. Please consider taking a day off.
Those were the results from the examination he had taken in the washroom moments ago. It was true that his body felt heavier when he woke up. It seemed he had caught a cold. Yet the old man dismissed the Silveroid's concerns with a snort.
Just this. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me.
The android stopped the old man, who was preparing to leave once more. She was persistent in her attempt to get her message across. Apparently, in case of emergencies, her typically meek personality was programmed to become more assertive.
As mentioned, it's not necessary for Master to go into work today. It's fine if Master leaves the store work to me and rest at home.
No way. What if you get robbed or something? How are you planning to deal with that when you're not even allowed to hurt people?
There are many ways to subdue people without inflicting bodily harm. There is also an alarm feature that will alert the police to arrive on the scene in less than 5 minutes. Stop talking
I don't know who would be talking.
I think it's
Stop
her because
talking
she's
non-
telling him.
I don't. Okay, sorry.
Stop talking nonsense and stay home. Keeping our home safe is a job too. Oh wait, maybe that is him. Because he doesn't want her to go to the store. I'm so sorry. I think this is the old
okay.
man.
That's okay. What if this place gets robbed too?
It seems like the android wanted to say something, but she eventually lowered her head. After giving her a look of disapproval, the old man left the house. There was so much more than I expected. The place that the old man arrived at was found to be a tiny, ordinary supermarket. It was a business he had started himself near his home after retiring. Being in the quieter areas of town, the business wasn't exactly booming, but at the very least, he had always managed to earn enough pay for his expenses. It wasn't like the old man was hunting for cash, though. His lifetime savings was already enormous, and the monthly allowance from his son was nothing to scoff at either. He could spend the rest of his life without having to work at all if he wanted to. Yet, he was the type of person who had focused on work all his life. Unlike others, he never bothered going on vacation or spending time abroad, mostly because he didn't know what to do with his free time. He wasn't flexible enough to try and find a new hobby at this stage of his life. Since he had thought about nothing but work all his life, all he could do was find some more work, even after retirement. The store remained vacant even after its opening. Several regular customers stopped by as the time passed, but today still seemed especially quiet. Sometimes co-workers from the company he used to work at would come visit the old man. He'd always been a little out of touch concerning family matters, but he was well respected at his workplace back in the day. Whenever they paid him a visit, the old man would reminisce about the past and share stories, usually over drinks. But that seemed unlikely today. Inside the quiet store, the old man passed the time by cleaning and checking the inventory. It was when a bit of time had passed that the old man was sitting at the counter, reading a newspaper. At the usual hour, the android stopped by at the store.
Is everything fine?
And the android offered a greeting with that dull voice of hers. She was carrying a large sack. He already knew what it was without needing to look inside. She placed the sack onto the counter and proceeded to unwrap it.
I've brought Master's lunch.
The moment the old man caught a glimpse of the lunchbox, he let out a deep sigh.
How many times have I told you? You don't need to bring me something like this. I could just get by with the stuff inside the store.
With all due respect, the food inside the store is not healthy enough for Master. Please refrain from eating such undesirable products. I have received a specific order from Master's son that I should supervise and manage Master's diet.
The old man became silent at the mention of his son. But he soon snatched the lunchbox away while letting out a loud snort.
Then, as if he was trying to let out his anger, he hastily pried it open. An assortment of nutritious food that he had enjoyed was laid out before him.
That bastard. Pretending to worry so much.
Even while carrying the lukewarm food to his mouth using a pair of chopsticks, the old man continued to complain.
Saying all of that, not even bothering to show up once in a while. How ungrateful. That's why there's no point in having children. Running off doing whatever they want and leaving their parents behind after growing up.
The android tilted her modest-sized head in confusion.
With all due respect, Master was the one who told his son, who was paying Master a visit for his birthday 2 years ago, to never show up again and kicked him out of the house.
That's because he kept talking nonsense. Every word that came out of his mouth was driving me insane. How could I not do anything about it?
As his voice began to rise, the android lowered her head without a word. She appeared to be waiting for the old man's anger to settle down. 2 years had passed since the old man and his son last saw each other. The monthly allowances and birthday presents delivered through an android. Those were the only connections remaining between them. The old man had always been on bad terms with his son. Whenever they met, they always ended up getting into a quarrel over something petty. This eventually led to a huge confrontation on his birthday 2 years ago. The argument escalated until the old man, who had finally reached his breaking point, decided to kick his son out of his house. Since the incident, they hadn't made any direct contact in 2 years. Their relationship had deteriorated to the point where they would only use the old man's silveroid to keep in touch.
From the son's perspective, Master may have come across as exceedingly cruel.
I've done nothing wrong.
He had returned from overseas just to pay Master a visit, so perhaps it was insensitive of Master to drive him away only because of a minor argument.
It's enough. There's nothing out of the ordinary. You should already know that.
Even so, I feel like this has been going on for too long this time. Even after a conflict, he always used to return the following holiday as if nothing had happened. I'm worried that the pain in the son's heart may be deeper than what Master believes.
The old man did not reply. He'd also been worried all this time. He'd always argued with his son, yet he did silently admit that this latest conflict had lasted far longer than usual. For a moment, he began to worry that his son couldn't visit because something bad had happened to him. But that was very unlikely. If his son hadn't been doing well, the Silveroid would have already notified him. It was proof that his son was doing fine.
Master?
What is it?
Master has stopped moving his hand.
Indeed, the old man had ceased moving his chopsticks. Keeping his hand stationary, the old man posed a question. It wasn't something he would normally ask.
What has my son been doing lately?
He appears to be running a successful business. I heard that he has returned from his business trip overseas.
I see. So he's in Korea at the moment.
It was understandable why he couldn't pay a visit while overseas. But if he was presently in Korea, what was stopping him now? As the old man continued to stare at his lunchbox with a pained look,
The android spoke up once more with her mechanical voice.
Master, the food is getting cold.
The old man closed the lid from his half-eaten lunchbox.
I've lost my appetite.
Master has not yet consumed the required amount of nutrients. Moreover, Master has already skipped most of his breakfast.
Then I've lost my appetite. How many times do I have to repeat myself?
And the old man slammed his chopsticks onto the counter. The android silently continued to stare at him. The look in her eyes implied she still had a few things left to say.
Master is...
What is it? You're going to speak up. At least finish your sentence.
Following the old man's command, the android continued with her emotionless voice.
With all due respect, I believe that Master has a tendency to get too angry with his son. I recommend that Master attempt to be more understanding of him.
It was rare for the android to openly criticize him, because he wasn't used to such treatment. He couldn't help but furrow his brow. After a moment, he lowered his voice and replied calmly.
Are you taking his side?
I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm only advising that if Master wishes the situation with his son to improve, he must gain proper control of his anger. Over his emotions.
You really think I get mad just because I want to? Of course not. But the stuff he spouts in front of me makes me lose my mind. It's his fault for being such an idiot.
Isn't that because he's part of family?
Just what are you talking about, all of a sudden?
The android stared at the old man intently. She opened her mouth to speak as she shook her head back and forth in hesitation. Evidently, she wasn't feeling very confident.
The reason why Master gets so frustrated? Isn't it because having a father-son bond causes one party to unconsciously expect something from the other and become frustrated when they don't follow through? I've never seen Master get so angry in front of other people. I'm an android. Therefore, I'm unable to properly gauge how these negative emotions are being formed inside Master. We do not have any unnecessary troublesome emotions programmed inside of us, after all. But
What?
since I will never be able to experience such emotions, sometimes I find myself being envious of that side of humans.
What nonsense.
Just for a moment, the old man nearly forgot he was conversing with the machine. The android knew that the old man wanted a straightforward robotic version of her instead of the casual, conversational one, so she rarely ever opened up to share her thoughts like this. Such a candid display stirred up a memory deep within the man's past, nearly forgotten until now.
Now that I think about it, there was another android quite similar to you.
The old man quietly mumbled.
I can barely remember when that was. It happened so long ago. My son once brought home a strange android. She was...
The old man closed his eyes in an attempt to comb through the distant memories.
She was a little different from you. Yes. Really seemed like a real person, that one.
A real person?
I've forgotten how she looked or sounded like. But one thing I remember is that she was very talkative. She'd always get ahead of herself, despite being only a robot.
The android remained silent after the explanation, staring blankly at her master.
But my understanding is that Master prefers a less talkative, laid-back android companion.
I do. That's why I hated that android. My son and I used to argue over it all the time.
What did you do with her?
What do you mean?
Her eyes slightly narrowed.
The android. What did you do with her?
Well, I'm not sure.
Did Master continue using it?
It was so long ago. I don't recall exactly what happened.
Only then, the old man could finally remember his son's heartbroken expression. At the time, he was certainly at his most rebellious. Even before then, the old man never had a good relationship with his son. Afterwards, their conflict appeared to escalate in intensity and frequency. The old man wondered whether an alternate, less confrontational approach might have worked out better. But with the shake of his head, he dismissed the thought. It would be pointless to dwell on the past. He had no intention to change either. The old man still despised androids, and he believed that he hadn't done anything wrong.
How about making an apology?
The old man's hand flinched a little. He responded in anger.
Talking nonsense!
Oh? Was it truly nonsense? I thought Master would want his relationship with his son to improve. Does Master not want to make peace with him?
Stop it! How do you expect me to do such a thing?
Master?
There was a bit of hesitation, but it only lasted for a very short moment. With a newly determined look, the android stared straight into the old man's eyes.
I've served Master for a very long time. And I'm confident that I know more about Master than anybody else. I've more or less deduced what Master deems important in terms of values.
Just what are you blabbering about? You're acting quite strange today.
Isn't there something more important than Master's pride? Isn't there something more important than that Master needs to consider? Instead of trying to save face, wouldn't it be wiser to drop his stubbornness once and for all?
The old man did not budge. Without agreeing or disagreeing, he sat in silence. While maintaining her blank expression, the android continued.
Of course, I do realize such a task would be difficult to accomplish. But Master, I believe that sometimes it's important to swallow one's pride for the greater good.
The old man tore open one of the cigarette packs on the store display and lit one up. Typically, the android would have scolded him for such an unhealthy habit, but for some reason, She did not say anything this time. Exhaling a cloud of smoke, the man sighed.
It will be Master's birthday soon. Instead of holding a social gathering with Master's acquaintances, may I recommend a private session with Master's son to spend some quality time together?
You sure are talkative today.
The android lowered her head. Perhaps this was her own unique way of apologizing. The old man exhaled another cloud of smoke.
Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to sit down and have a nice, long chat with my son.
The android raised her head to look at the old man once more.
Then I will make the preparations right away. Also, is it alright if I pay Master's son a visit and deliver the message in person this time?
Although her voice sounded flat as usual, the old man could somehow sense a tinge of excitement coming from her.
Is it really necessary that you go in person?
To elaborate, the timing would coincide with the arrival of an android engineer for the annual model upgrade. I thought it would be a good idea to go into the city and get the upgrade there while delivering the message. Although, things will be inconvenient for Master during my leave.
If that's better for you, then go ahead. I'll be fine around here.
I understand. Then I will make the preparations to leave right away.
All right. Good luck.
Several days flew by since their conversation. The android, who had been busy creating a schedule all this time, was especially making a lot of racket today. When she was done, she bid farewell to the old man before she departed.
Then, I will be making my leave now. If everything goes as planned, I expect to be back by the evening 2 days from today.
You'll be taking that long?
The trip itself shouldn't take much time, but I must cater to both Master's son and the android engineer's schedules. With the time constraints, it appears that I will have to meet up with the engineer for the upgrade first.
What about my son?
I will be seeing him on the last day of the scheduled trip. I am planning to bring him back with the news of Master's birthday. Now, please, take this.
The android handed the old man a piece of paper.
What's this?
It's a list of popular restaurants nearby. Each one offers a unique birthday set menu. I've listed the foods they offer in great detail. That should be more than enough to go around, but I'd like to recommend Master to add in some of his son's favorite foods. If it's too much trouble, I can take care of reservations and everything else, but I just thought it would be better if Master personally chose the menu himself.
Alright, I'll take a look.
Squinting, the old man scanned through the sheet of paper. The text was in a large font in consideration for the old man's vision, but he still had trouble reading it. It appeared that his eyesight had gotten even worse. He took out a magnifying glass from his pocket to ease the strain. The Silveroid was very thorough. She had listed the menu and price comparisons, cuisine critiques, as well as accompanying photos. Rice cakes, seaweed soup, assortment of veggies, crab soup, pork chops, beef rib stew, vegetable pancakes, and so forth. All the menus were fairly similar with little diversity. The android appeared to have sensed the old man's distress.
Is there something Master needs help with?
I just don't know
Don't know what, Master.
what my son likes. I just can't figure it out. All I ever did was give him allowance money. Think he'll go find something to eat on his own.
In this situation, it wouldn't have been that strange for others to judge him for not knowing what his own son liked. But he wasn't talking to a real person. The android quietly began writing something down on another sheet of paper, and soon handed it over to the old man.
I've tried listing the foods that Master's son might enjoy. I should mention that the data is more than 2 years old, so it might not be the most accurate. However, I do believe that it will serve as a good reference point.
The old man slowly took the sheet of paper. He couldn't bring himself to praise her for her efforts. Mostly because he was shocked by the fact that a mere android knew more about his son than he did.
I just thought boys like him would do fine growing up on their own.
Master?
Forget it. That'll be all.
A puzzled look lingered on the Silveroid's face, but she soon departed with a bow. And the old man was instantly enveloped by a deafening silence. He could only hear the loud ticking of the clock, appearing as if he was having trouble getting used to the emptiness. The old man weakly made his way towards his bedroom. A day has passed since the android's departure. Today was no different than any other, yet it felt far from normal for the old man. In the Silveroid's absence, the old man had to take over all her chores, which was no walk in the park. Even the simplest tasks such as cooking, were proving to be quite an effort. The old man found preparing the meal bothersome, so he decided to skip breakfast and headed straight for the store. However, without food to sustain the old man, he quickly succumbed to fatigue. Also, he didn't have a proper lunch, since there was no android to bring him food. Instead, he made do with a handful of rice bowls from the store shelves. He set aside some time during work to make a reservation for his birthday meal. The old man chose the restaurant he thought the young people would prefer. He was notified that the delivery would be made tomorrow, around 5 p.m. After a busy day of work, which felt much longer than usual, the old man dragged his tired body home. When the old man arrived home, he was too tired to cook up a proper meal. So he ate a bunch of nearly expired snacks brought from the store. Afterwards, he neatly folded up and put away his clothes instead of leaving them lying around the house like he usually did. Deeming it too much effort to run a bath, he opted for a quick shower. Then he ran a laundry load through the washing machine and tidied up around the house. This was what the android had always done for the old man. He clearly didn't have the same amount of energy he used to when he was young. He was no longer at an age where he would be able to do everything on his own. The old man began to feel thankful that he had someone that could take care of all the chores for him. He probably would never have felt this way if his body hadn't been so weak. What the old man had most trouble adjusting to was the air of melancholy. Certainly, his android wasn't the most outgoing. That was because she was instructed to keep everything simple and to the point. It was what the old man preferred. Even so, there was a lot of bustle while the Silveroid attended to numerous household chores. The sound of soup boiling in the kitchen, the clanking of dishes in the dishwasher, humming of the running washing machine, and the vacuum cleaner. The house always used to be alive with activity. He was able to hear someone else's presence. But now, there was nothing. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. Only the sound of the clock rang in the stillness. The fact that the old man was doing everything on his own without anyone helping him. And the fact that there was no one to see him when he went to work and greet him when he returned was unexpectedly tough on him. He realized just how much he relied on the android. He could feel how much the Silveroid he used to hate was being a big help in many ways. While lying in bed with nothing to do, the old man tried to picture himself in his son's shoes when he was young. The deathly quiet house. The $10 bills stacked on top of the kitchen table instead of a warm meal. The old man imagined his son picking them up with an unhappy look on his face. He imagined how his son would have felt being all alone at home whilst listening to the sound of a clock ticking away, while waiting for his parents to return late at night. Only then he could finally understand how that old android, whose name he had now forgotten, could have been such a big help to his son back then. They say people require less sleep as they age, yet the old man felt particularly restless that night.